Okay.
Okay. So we add the data here from the default version for the, let's do one system at a time. So maybe you want to do the wastewater.
Have I sent you guys a full geodatabase of everything?
Um,
You guys can see it. So
we have something, but we just want
I'm
to
still
be
I'm
cautious.
still working on
Not after what we made, right? The water, we made so
Yeah,
much
there
changes
was
to the water.
changes. There were changes to water, so yeah.
Tracing the weights and all.
Yeah, so I don't know if you are
the
maintaining something called a full geodatabase for.
yeah. I'm talking about, so you have water. Water's over here in GIS utility dev.
Right, but
Every
everything
other
else.
city is every other layer, every department, cadastral, planning, everything else is on city edit. So
There have been no
Jenner
changes
City,
to that one, right?
no, well, there's some changes. I've been working on some domain fixes for planning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna add a new layer in here for project layers. Uh, but I'll do it after this meeting. But yeah, I probably should give you guys an updated copy of this file geodatabase, just so you have your own file geodatabase.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay. You have the topology layers, which we don't need right now. All we needed was the. Excuse me.
oh, you want me to give you control?
No, you can. I mean, just in case we need to. Make sure
So I
we're on the.
want to build this off of. I want to build a version off default, or we
No,
want to
you're
do
not
it
going to
on.
make a version. You're just going to do it on the default version, and I'm hoping you're okay with that. If not, you will be. Let me ask you this question. You can make those changes on the default, and then everybody else kind of like refreshes their version and gets it off of the default. But
Well, I think what we'll probably want to do is we'll just kill every version.
yeah, otherwise you'll have to do a reconcile and post with default if you did it on a child version. So
Yeah. But I'm saying if we do we do this calculation or this change on the default, I'd probably just go through and wipe out everybody's version, have it make everybody start over.
okay, yeah, this is dev. So yeah,
It's
I
a
think
dev
you'll be
environment,
fine with that.
so I'd rather, because it just adds more. It's more. Not what I got to go through, and then I got to QC, for test versions, any conflicts that may arise because of the flow direction defined at the default level, then I could reconcile in favor of the target and go down and do all that stuff. However, that just would be more work for me in the long run. I would rather just kill all the versions. We'll do it to default. Default then is fine.
Okay. You don't
So I
have to
guess
kill the versions, do you?
what was that?
You don't have to kill the versions, right?
Well, I honestly, I would say that we could do that. That would be the nice thing to do, but I'm not going to be nice here. So we're going to do a calculation and a change on default. I'm going to kill every single version because I don't want to have to deal with conflicts with all that stuff. if any conflicts arise, I don't want to have to. We could do a reconcile, favor the default, and if a bunch of conflicts start happening in the child versions, then I'm just going to kill the versions.
Okay. Because they're not real edits, right?
It's easier for me in the long run just to kill all the versions and make the editors who are doing training just rebuild recreate their versions. It's
Okay.
practice anyway. If they want to do anything, it's just going to be practice for them to edit anyway.
Sure. Okay. That sounds good. So I'm going to, if you take a look at this, so for example, in this data, if you say, okay, displace arrows for me, it's taking a while.
Well, it's a big data set. And we're going through remote.
Huh.
Well, yeah.
A reminder for myself, I guess I'll have to check with you on the data review workspace. We had a note for you or a DevOps item for you. So we'll have to make sure that that's set up for tomorrow's training.
Yeah, now that the conversion's done, you guys are kind of like my primary now. I've been spending time on editing, but my full attention has not been on editing. It's been on conversion. So I now put you guys front and center, and then the web and the paper maps are secondary.
Thank you.
The data reviewer item was the grid, I believe, right?
The grid,
Oh,
the
yeah,
QC
yeah.
grid.
So right now we have a grid set up in QC grid that deals with the tiles cubs. Your recommendation is that we use the big polygon data set in sewer for both sewer and storm. But I'd almost think that if that data set isn't tied into, I'd rather have like one QC grid for every department.
Okay.
Rather than have this grid for water, this grid for electric, this grid for sewer, this grid for storm, this grid for water.
And that's just for QC. That's just for QC. You want like still like the wastewater grid and the wastewater map.
Yeah, I don't. We could even, that data set's never going to be probably edited. So we could extract. If you guys like that data set, we could probably give it out to the teams and say, hey, what would you guys rather as a QC grid? I just want to have one QC grid.
It's probably the best idea is have like the smallest grids, right, for QC grids?
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever is probably the smallest.
So the QC grid we currently have is modeled after our tiles from library.
Yeah. And
So
those are the smallest areas?
Yes. There's some areas that are big polygons that are water that go extend north of the city that go into San Bernardino. But for the most part, the grids inside the city, I think, are smaller than the polygon data set you put in for. And if there's any fields we need to add to that one, I would happily oblige to that. But now
when you configure it for data reviewer, it automatically adds the fields. It's like 3 fields, I believe. Is that what you mean?
I don't remember. Maybe it did that. I don't remember. Because I already configured in my instance the QC grid to point to that data in my own instance. So
right.
I mean, we can have a little meeting, like a side meeting, where we talk, and we can go over that after this meeting. But if you want, but from a QC standpoint, I'd rather have just one grid. I don't care what the grid is, but I agree. We want to go with something that is the smallest grid possible for visual, because you're not going to really want to go through a giant polygon for a visual QC type work.
Right.
I'd almost think that it's, it almost seems like we should have even a new field in there to support visual QC so that that potentially, something's changed or not. But maybe you just use their tracking for that. I don't know.
So we do have to address that today, okay? Because tomorrow is the training, so we just want to make sure that that's done.
For this, you're talking about for data reviewer?
Yeah, the QC grid.
You guys are going to record that session, right? Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I'm not going to be here, so I'm driving up north.
Cool.
Okay, so this is the set flow directions. Coming back to the flow directions. Okay,
Wow, so
so
cool.
and
You
it
don't. So
asks
you don't use it. So I was thinking that you use this tool right here to do it,
that
and I
one's
could do it
display
like that.
only,
Okay.
and anybody can display. But setting, I mean, you need to do it on the default, and so I mean, it's best to do it on the default. You don't want to, move up that much of information all the way up through the versions. So, and make sure it's your default version connection. Edit dev, yeah. Yeah, navigate to the wastewater and select your geometric network. Add it. Okay. Now the flow option, we say we are going to not use the sources and sinks. Not a good idea, especially given that they could be like loops that happen and you have to identify clearly the sources and sinks. So it's a typical thing, standard in the industry to go with digitized direction, because way all the way from when people develop data in CAD, they always digitized in that direction of flow. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier for everybody to maintain the data set if it were with digitized direction. Okay, and that's
Okay.
why even in our instructions and everything, we say when you're digitizing a sewer main, just go in the direction of the flow. Digitize it in the direction of the flow. So this is what you can say, and say okay.
Well, that didn't take long at all.
Yeah, it's good. Now you see the flow directions.
Yep.
Okay, so if anywhere there's an error or something, then they will flip the line and that will correct the direction. Okay, the editors would do that, but for us, like setting it initially, it would be using this
Okay. So now we just run. I don't need to add storm drain to the table of contents, right? I can just run the tool
on the storm
like this.
drain. Yeah, but I would like to verify things visually, so that's why sometimes it
Do you
seems
want
the
to?
tool. Yeah, I would like to do that if you don't
Oh,
mind,
you want me to? Okay, that's fine.
because you can, well, sometimes some of these tools appear that they work but they don't actually, so I would like to verify.
Yeah, I have. I wanted to set up our publication database in WGS 84, and when I tried to do it in 10.7.1, huge bugs with the whole process. So then I talked to Jim McKinney. I'm complaining to him because at Alpha 4 for Pro 2.6, you could do it all in Pro. Right? You could build replicas with geometric networks. Well, at Beta 1, they broke it, but to them, they fixed it. Right? So it's because, and then I had to talk to Larry Young, who's the program manager for essentially for Partial Fabric and Geometric Network, or Utility Network. And he says, oh, that's because there's a bunch of spaghetti code where they were essentially, the way it reminds me of is, it goes back to the days when in 8.8.1, they supported editing coverages in ArcMap. And it was so buggy that they removed it. Or maybe it was 8.01 or 8.02 they supported that, and then 8.1 they fixed it. They cut it off. And so the same thing is with Geometric Network and Pro. You can view data, but you can't do anything with it because they've literally clamped that down. This is in 2.6. So 2.5 it probably works, but 2.6 gives us graphics, gives us trace networks. So we have to move to 2.6. So I then have to do it in ArcMap. So then I complain, of course, and Jim tells me, okay, you need to talk to Larry. And I talk to Larry, and Larry's like, sorry, this is the why we're doing it, because it's all built on this code from 25 years ago, and it's just too messy to continue supporting that. You got to move to utility network. Well, as you know, utility network is pretty complicated. So what do we want to turn on? Which data set?
Let's turn on the all of those participating linear features.
And so we might take storm data. Larry told me I can use storm data would be a good data set to use with trace network as opposed to trying to go to the utility network.
Mm-hmm.
So we might take storm right into trace at 2.6. And then we're also looking at parcel fabric at 2.6.2, which we've already created in the, so you guys are going to train fabric, but we may just jump right to the fabric in Pro after you guys train them on ArcMap, probably within 6 months.
That would be good.
Up. Because I didn't know, I kept asking Somas, okay, that's great. You want me to, because they actually wanted us to go to Pro, and I said, okay, well, you tell me the workflow on how I can take that service, that feature service, from ArcGIS Enterprise and bring it back into ArcMap so that electric and water can snap to the center lines. And they couldn't answer that question. And then after talking to Dan, who's the product manager for Fabric, he's like, oh, you just do it as a map service. And when you publish, because I'm not an expert in branch versioning. I've only done it like in the lab. And so he's like, oh, you just build it as a map service. You bring the map service back on. When you publish the feature service, it actually generates a map service kind of thing. And so that's why it's okay. It's more realistic. We can move forward with Fabric and Pro because now we have a way to get the other users to be able to see, you know, the data in their old ArcMap environment.
Yeah. I just wanted to. Oh, this already has the flow direction set, seems like. Or was it that you never ended up replacing this data set?
On everything, because you don't have it there. Like I would imagine that and that go in that direction.
Okay, maybe we can run it and get done with it, right? So, do you want to go ahead? Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that today, then on the production environment.
Sure.
Or next week.
Oh, I also meant to talk to you about your question was on network build error table for water. If we should or should not register it as version, or I just want to see, go back here. You had a question on that one.
On what?
On the network build error table for water.
Yeah. So
that gets created when somebody is building or creating the geometric network, right? Lata, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't get updated later on. Or it does. It doesn't, as far as I know.
As we clear errors, that's.
I mean, you'd have to. I think it's a one-time deal. It just gets created one time, and you can go and edit that table if you wanted to. So there's no harm in giving people, because they
have to fix it, right?
Yeah, they have to be able to see what the errors are and fix them.
Yeah. So right now, for the wastewater and stormwater, we do not have it versioned.
Yeah. So
but everybody should have access to it.
Yeah, and that's all they can see. When you regenerate the geometric network, it can
Yeah, which we normally don't do, right?
Yeah,
It's
we
just
don't.
once time and
Mhm.
then
Yeah, that table seems to be like pretty much static there. So
Okay, so we can leave it unversioned then.
yeah, if we have something else, then we'll let you know for sure. But that's basically we can leave it for now
Okay.
for all of the data sets.
Okay, so what's next?
Next is sequences. So this
Okay,
is
do we need,
done. Mhm.
can
need
we check the DevOps? I addressed to you. These machines doesn't have SQL Management Studio, so we cannot connect to those.
You mean our the
Yes,
machine that we have?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to have this.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Oh.
We're doing sequences on. I mean, we don't really need it for that much. You know, it's just when you look at.
Let's say we did a test and we want to go back to the start. So that's one time we need to fix that.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hate these stupid many-to-many relationship classes, man. They cost me a lot of problems.
There was a 2 files attachment. One is to delete the existing one. See the second one is to delete, the first one is to create. So was IT
this
were
is
able to give permission on those for editors to write from it? I mean, read and write? Okay, we can talk about that after this.
so now this one is dropping, right?
Correct.
So are we dropping it from all databases?
Yes, we'll just drop it. There's no change for the storm sewer wastewater. They wanted to rename to WW, their sequence name. It used to be SCW before. Now they all start with WW. So that's why we have to drop all the wastewaters. Storm, not big change, but we'll just go ahead and drop and recreate. Okay.
So this is
So
okay. Storm and sewer right here, right?
yes, correct.
Do I need to run this as DBO?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's what we did last time, right? Because it's a system tables. You need to be. Can we first see where it is right now?
Where do they get stored?
Can you do select star star from?
So you are saying it cannot be found, does not exist, no permissions. Okay. Where did you create the sequences?
Star from
They've been
sys.sequence.
dropped. Did you happen to Ted? You said did you have to replace the database, like completely redo at the SQL level? You know what I'm saying? Did you create a new geodatabase entirely
No,
after we last set the
no,
sequences?
not on GIS edit.
Hmm.
So on GIS edit, we shouldn't I shouldn't I do something like that?
I'm gonna
Or
put it here, okay? Do this. I put it on the chat. Can you run that, please?
Okay.
where's the chat at?
On the top next to participants, there's a chat window.
Oh, I think I minimized that.
It's a little bubble thingy, like the comic bubbles. Did you find it? And it may have like a 1 or 2 kind of. Okay, you got it. Okay, it is somewhere. So maybe it's a matter of using the right table, database table.
Okay, can we change, so where are we right now? We are in GIS, edit dev.
Yeah. Yeah, there doesn't show anything up in here.
Okay.
Yeah, those sequences are not there. I wouldn't expect anything in the utility dev. We haven't worked on that. What's check dev?
Data reviewer.
Nothing would be there, right?
No. And then jobs is workflow manager. So, and then fiber is Anghouse.
Somehow the sequences got deleted on your side. We don't know how. So if
Yeah.
but Lata, are they deleted or are they somewhere, you mean? Do you know why I'm saying that? Is because your select statement is coming up there. But
Yeah, with the null records. Yeah, because there's nothing in there. So I'm trying to make it change to editor.
Want me to go ahead and do you have to define the database that it needs to be part of?
see up there is
Yes.
set GIS GDB name.
Name, yeah.
DB.
It's either you go to the database and you run this, or run it like the script individually.
Like that, right?
Yeah, just copy, just not the first one though, the next.
Okay, let's copy everything and then remove the stuff you don't.
Okay.
Okay, all the way to the top, and then we remove the one that says.
Comment that part.
Yeah, you can say
should
set
be-
DB, comment it
What's
out.
the how do you oh it's
Is the star slash and yeah.
At the end
Right.
again // so
No, the end is not required.
then how come
it's all blacked out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
end is not, that just to comment in a different way.
So this is if I run this, it looks like this is color,
Yeah.
but this is not. And this is all now commented out.
Can we undo for a couple of minutes?
We just do that. And see now it's active again.
Yeah. You're good, right, Lata?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the below one, is there's a database name represented or not.
Well,
So
then
from
you need the set GIS GDB and give it the name, the correct name there.
Yeah, if you're already connected to the database, you don't need it. It's going to create it in that database level. So
Are we in that? We are in that database. He did start a
yes.
query in that.
Okay.
Okay. Procedure SPL ID sequence. Line 11. Can we see
So
line 11?
How do I do can I do
just do the create sequence, copy just that until they go, and then just run that one.
so run this.
Not that, the next line. We don't need the if statement, but after the if create sequence. Yeah, just do that part.
Okay. You want us to do individually one by one then?
Yeah, now you can select from there till the end and then and it can just run.
Okay, let's go and see if we have the sequences now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good point.
You can do the select now. The previous one you had that the previous.
So
So
Lata,
I need to let the DBA know that there's sequences in here in case he has a process that's going through and killing those.
that could be a possibility.
Right? I don't know. I'm just
And why is it named that way? I'm just trying to think.
because I'm the owner. I ran it. T Cronin is a
Yeah.
DBO on the database, so T Cronin. That's why it's
Oh.
named that way.
Okay.
Lata, would that mandate anything on
Yeah,
your
they
scripts?
editor should be able to access that. That's all I'm trying to see.
Well,
What would editors see? Because we were trying to create one owner for one user for this, right?
isn't sequences being handled as
No, we were going to have IT create one user, so they all connect with that.
So what do you want? So you want
I believe the IT created one user, right?
yeah, let me look into that. It seems like
Yeah.
we did. Dude, that does sound vaguely familiar.
Yeah,
sequences, the owner of sequences.
Because you have that code, but that code, we gave you the username and password for it,
Right.
but I don't think it has.
it only had select. That's what you were going to talk to them and get it so we can write and read from it.
Yeah, that's right. GIS sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And the role would be. I don't know if we ever defined.
There
The
is
permission
DB underscore GIS sequence role. I think that's probably what.
Because in the script, we have to give this user information so they can go access it.
So I need to remove it now as T Cronin.
Correct.
Mhm.
This creating in a right way would be better. With the correct user would be better.
So Lata, who should be the owner
Mhm.
of the table of the sequence? Owner,
So
not
geosequence.
not the one who generates the sequence, but who should be the owner of the sequence tables? Usually DBO is the owner.
Yes, TBA is the owner. So
So
because these are system
But you said
sequences.
the GIS sequence, does it need to be granted update rights
Correct.
or?
Update, select. Because what happens is when you go, if you see on the back, the start is for the last one is 22,101, right? So when the editor picks that one, and then the next value should be updated to 102. So it needs that permission to write to the table, update the table.
So then, besides select and update, does it need insert and delete?
You don't want delete. Insert is not required. It's update.
Just select and update.
so why don't we
Select and
just
update.
give them the privileges? It's all done automatically anyway through the script, right? Nobody is going to go and make changes. So should in case
Yeah.
you need it later, it's going to be hard for us to come and set this up. So maybe we should give all the privileges.
Mm-hmm. So the privilege for this one is as we create, we have created, right? So only then later on the script is going to update the values to that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to give GIS sequence. GIS sequence essentially would need to be a privilege that's added to the feature data set.
Data set for just these six of the sequences tables.
You can't handle any permissions from the GIS side for this, not from ArcGIS side. You would have to do everything through SQL.
Correct.
Oh, so I don't have to give this user rights to the feature data set.
No,
Not feature data set, no. Just for these
No.
6 sequence tables, that's it.
just the sequence tables.
But your
Yes.
little Python script passes this user in the script, right?
Correct, yes. It's going to just take the value from here, and then it does its own, concatenation, and then puts that in the asset ID. So
Right.
And so why does it need to have update rights?
because the table, if you look at the select table,
The sequence tables are not going to get privileges. I mean, it should not be given privileges to anybody else except for that user, because that user
except for the
in the
GIS
past we
sequence.
used to use the DBO, and we said, okay, let's not use DBO because it's the all powerful password and username there. So instead of that, we are using the GIS sequence user. GIS sequence user only needs to generate the next higher number, and retrieve
So
that
do I
number,
need to
bring it to
run?
the Python script.
So I need to run this script as the GIS sequence user.
Yes, that might be better. So then it will have rights. The script will have rights to it.
Right.
Otherwise, it may complain it's not the owner or do not have privilege to update.
Yeah. So the GIS sequence user will create a new sequence number every time, so the sequence number keeps on going higher. If the let me ask this question though, is that if the GIS sequence user is only being used to control the sequences, then is it required to even
So I can't remove it. Or do I need to run this?
Well,
Can you refresh on the left side? Can you refresh sometimes? Refresh. You can't remove it.
well, another thing is that in your
It's
script
just
you're just
permission.
giving the name, it's DBO in the front. It can't be DBO, it has to be T
Oh,
colon.
it has to be, yeah.
Has to be GIS sequence.
Yeah,
It should be your name and then that.
well, instead of using a drop statement, can he just go and delete it from there on the sequences?
Yeah.
Is it required to encrypt if it's just the sequence user, GIS sequence users pass? You know what I'm saying is,
So I need to have the DBA give this, give the database, give this user access to the database. Yeah, I don't have rights to rant that.
are you able to delete the sequences directly from where you can delete them because you created them? Yeah.
Let me send that Jason an email.
It's only for sequences. Yeah. You don't need for anything else.
Yeah.
Do me a small quick change to the script, and I'll let you know. In the select one, can you change? Okay, it's removed right now. Just wanted to make sure that if you do the select, would you see it or not? Okay, can you run that again, just so make sure we don't see anything? Okay. Okay.
I don't know when he's gonna get back to me.
And tomorrow before the meeting, you're not in to just so if
Yeah,
you.
I will not have access to my computer.
Oh, okay.
So it may have to be postponed. But if you guys run into problems,
Yeah. Just checking.
what time's the training class at?
It's at 10.
Okay. I will be probably in Orange County. I might be in LA County by then. I'm hoping I'll be in Santa Monica by then. I haven't told that to my wife yet. I have a friend who just opened up a restaurant in Santa Monica, and
Wow.
one of my water polo teammates. I don't know. Back when I worked at DCSE, I didn't play water polo anymore, so I'm back to playing water polo.
Cool. Yeah, it's a nice day. I mean, it's not sunny and all. I hope the weather will be nice tomorrow. We may or may not do the sequences or SPL ID tomorrow in the training. We will just go by like how much this can be resolved. But I think you're not so Lata. If
Yes.
Ted creates with his login,
Mm-hmm.
then
We can just try and test to see if we can connect with just the name.
Oh,
Can you run and leave that, Ted? Just one more time.
so you're saying run the if I try to do this and I do SQL Server, okay, so give me a couple minutes.
Hey, Everyone?
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to restart my computer real quick. I'll be right back.
no problem.
Okay.
See, that's wrong, actually.
S- Um, Ted, you're trying to create the sequence tables sequences with basically the GIS sequence login. Is that correct?
Yes, if I understand correctly.
Okay. Lata, is that a preference?
Yes, that so the tool can access it without any permission issue.
Yeah, so basically SQL GIS sequence will own the GIS sequences on GIS edit dev and GIS edit.
Correct.
Right. And then you don't have to worry about any kind of permissions,
Mhm.
is what she's saying. It's the logic. Okay. Um, then you may have to encrypt the password, just saying,
Yeah, that's the plan.
or encrypt the script.
Yeah, encrypt
So
the
it
script.
already has access on edit dev. Oh. So when I do this,
Can you do like a new connection and maybe that doesn't work.
I have this wrong. That's so complicated. Let me replace this. Yes, yeah.
If you create a new connection, would that be able to see the database?
Why is this not?
Oh, I was expecting that should work. Okay.
Unless it's just I've got the wrong user. Sue user. Nope. Okay. Thanks, Tiff. Hey, so does Jim Smith still work at DCSE?
No, not right now. I mean, it's been a few years. We had quite a bit of changes that happened like over time. But I mean, he was working with offsite on some like contract projects,
Yeah.
and he sometimes helped out with some GPS projects. So it's been
What
a while.
about that? Does Josh still work there?
Josh moved to Arizona, and it was only a couple of years ago, actually. Yeah,
Wow. He was living in like Sycamore Canyon. That's a big change.
Sycamore Canyon, Silverado.
Silverado Canyon. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Silverado was kind of more recent, I thought. Um, Way before, I think he was somewhere in Orange.
Yeah. Well, he was in Orange, and then they bought a house down in Silverado
That's right. That's right.
because his girlfriend at the time lived in Orange, but then they got married,
Mm-hmm.
if I recall right.
And then, of course, they have a little one. She is 8 now.
Wow, I haven't talked to Josh in like, I even run into him at the UC and come in for setup and
Right. And he just moved recently, and then of course around this New Year, I sent him something. He was trying to throw a Indian themed New Year's party, so I sent him some Indian stuff that I had. So somebody was driving from here to Arizona, so
interesting.
yeah, I
So
think
and Hisham left, right? Hisham has his own company now, or
um I don't know exactly if it's his own company, but I think he maybe I would say or with other people, I think. It's got to do with blockchain and those kind of things, if I'm not
okay.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Bojana doesn't work there anymore either, right?
No, she went to Google as far as I remember after like leaving DCSE, but after that I haven't been in touch with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Jack? Jack still there?
He's still there. He's still working on map library too. So
Okay. And then On. Does On still work there?
no, An left, I think I think somewhere around even 2006, 2005, aroundish that time.
And then there was
Um,
one other Vietnamese guy, um,
Young.
Young. Yeah, he did
Yeah,
all the
Young
Cold
is
Fusion
still
stuff.
with us. Yeah, Young is still working with Mingchin on those database related projects and all. So
And then Ming Chen, he's still there?
yes, Mingchin and Young work together on like they're kind of their own separate. They work on some very specific projects related to database and all. So yeah,
All right.
yeah.
No word yet on this.
We've had like I don't know if when you were working around that time if you had I think Bob Parker.
Yeah. Bob.
There were two Bobs, Bob King,
Yep.
Bob Parker. Yeah,
Yep.
and Bob
Do
Parker, I
they?
think, moved to somewhere a mountain state. I'm trying to remember what it was. Lata, do you remember?
And then
No.
what happened to Bob King?
Bob King moved to a different company.
What about Tim
Uh,
Scharf?
Tim Scharf moved to Cobb County first,
Georgia.
and then he moved to some other city nearby. He comes for the SRE conference once in a while, but we meet him there. Um, so yeah, he moved there to be closer to his family.
Yeah. What about Mahmood?
Who, sorry?
Mahmood? He might have left before like Karen and Mahmood. Mahmood was he was Persian guy, another Persian guy.
I don't remember because when
Yeah,
we came,
he probably left before.
Mhm. This was when we were in Crown Valley, right? When we were in like Crown Valley office, I
Yep,
think I
yep.
joined at that time, and after that, after like even like a couple of months, Lata, do you remember working long at the Crown Valley? No, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like a couple of
Yeah. We
months,
moved. Yeah. After that.
and we moved to that Argonaut, Elisa Viejo,
Correct. Yeah.
and then from there we moved to uh,
Mill Creek.
Mill
Mill.
Creek, and from Mill Creek we moved here to like the current location, South Point. Um,
Well, your current location now is at home.
yeah, correct. That is true. Yeah. Yeah, but Jim was working like I would say even like 3 or 4 years ago he was still working. But I don't know if his Masood would probably know better because he's in like touch with him. Jim's brother also worked on some GPS projects with us. So Okay. Maybe we can do this later.
He says he can log in, no error. As GIS sequence. Maybe I have the wrong password.
Could you please check with him the permission for those? Is it just this view, or
What permission?
is it
Well,
just?
you need to build a. We still need to build a login with the
Yeah,
password.
login still should work, but I'm just saying we need the update permission as well.
Because I cannot, based on what I have, SQL GIS Dev 509700 GIS sequence, which is based on my key pass. It does this to me. I hate this.
Password changed.
Well, no, he likes to. He normally sends them to me as an image, and then I gotta retype it, and it's annoying as hell. Because I just then go ahead and send it to people through email. Because I'm all about, it's like some people take the security stuff a little too far.
Yeah.
There we go. So let me. I think I had 467. I think I have 4. It's the same. Okay, we'll just go with that. Okay, so now I need to run it as this user. Do I need to run this?
No, we can remove that part.
I just need to run this.
Correct. Yes.
I've gotten a lot of SQL experience from you guys in the last couple of weeks. I really haven't touched SQL in like about a year, 2 years, maybe year and a half.
Yeah, now with everything in your enterprise GIS, I think you'll be doing a lot more SQL.
Okay.
Yeah. We had when I left the county, we were just doing a new property tax system, and we basically went from dealing with about 13 tables that were extracted out of the mainframe to over 4,000 tables. So the SQL was way more advanced, and I left go live date.
Okay, can you do the select now? I put it in the chat window, or use the same select.
Here, let me just see if I can see it here. Okay.
Okay.
And then you want to go.
Okay. Good. So we have 4
Let me
for
provide
each of
you
them.
with can I send you the password?
Yeah, you did send me, but if it's something different, you can send me again.
Here, where is your?
It looks the same to me. I don't know what's the change. Oh, it's a capital. It's a capital letters. Okay, there is a change.
What's the difference?
That the middle DAT, that's a capital.
All in
versus-
caps, and what I had was all lowercase.
Yeah, AT was a lowercase.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to type that over then?
Oh, okay. You can send it to me. So I'll have it.
You need to have it in the script, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need to
yeah. Well, it's in the chat window right now.
Okay. Okay. If you see the script here, the table below, we see the current value, right? The current value first starts with 13,800 for the first one. See, what it does is when it takes that sequence number, it updates with 801, and then it uses it for that sequence. And the next time it's going to take up
1301.
802. This table is keep get updated as the editors.
So this is going to increment by 1
Yes.
each time it runs. And
So when you,
after a week, this might be 13,820.
Yeah, 820. So that's why we need the update permission for these tables, because the editors.
Okay, so we got the right permissions down. Select and update.
Correct.
Fine.
Yeah. No insert, but at least able to have an update query. Yeah.
So I could conceptually do. Are we going to be making changes to this?
Let's say you completed your test and you want to take it to the production. So that time you want to just drop this and just come clean, starting from same numbers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. I'm just. I'm going to take your script. And I got to build a connection to this, but
okay. Today later we'll just go ahead and test it on our side to connect to using this user.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do the test and post you. We'll update you.
Okay. And then so we're good. We're good with the set flow. We're good with the sequence. We're good with.
We need to do the data reviewer, the grid. Let's go and do that. Adam, are you online?
I'm here.
Okay.
So right now, this is the QC grid. And so in this area, this is pretty much the city. This is all the old tile structure from the coverage world.
Mm-hmm.
So like the cadastral team knows AF17. Now, Candace probably knows that. Jonathan Buckley probably knows that. Elijah and Michael D aren't going to know that. But this is only going to be used for dealing with essentially visual QC.
Right. So
versus the data set you guys suggested, which was.
It's just the map grid.
Yeah.
Which is fine. If I think I don't see any problem in using that other QC grid, as long as it has been enabled first.
These are big polygons, pretty much.
Yeah. Adam, do you agree? The QC grid is the one to be used?
Yes.
Okay. Is it enabled, or should we try doing that once?
So what do we need to do on it?
We just need to move it into into the into the QC database, right? If it's not already.
Yeah. So what we thought was that all of your data reviewer related information would live in that database called your QC
Checks development.
Yeah. That one.
Check edit.
So, and I apologize for these names. These names were generated because we were going to go live on Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did the switch to SQL Server at the last minute, it was, they just kept the same names. I would have called this data review or workflow manager, something, workflows. The way
Data
I had it in
reviewer.
the county, I called it data review and I call it workflows. But now I have these stupid names, which I don't really like. But And we tried to rename them manually within SQL Server, but it caused problems with SDE. We were able to go back behind the system and be able to fix things and get it to work. But then when you talk to Esri, they're like, man, we're not actually going to support that if we find that that's what you guys did. Because you're not supposed to touch stuff behind the scenes. Okay, so is there anything I need to do to that data?
It's basically a question for you. The question is that do you want to keep it there, or do you want to move it to the checks GIS check dev? Now, Adam, is it required to be there or not? That would be something to consider, right? It would be nice
I
to
don't
have,
know if it's required to be there.
yeah, it would be nice to
You're saying
have
it
all
has
of
to be-
the.
You're saying it has to be part of here.
Logically, it makes sense to,
If all utilities are using the same one, right? Is that what you wanted, Ted?
yeah.
All utility
So
groups
I
to use.
probably, yeah, well,
if water, electric, everybody is going to use the same thing. Um,
And it's part of data reviewer, and we're storing data reviewer results in that geodatabase. It would make
right,
sense to me to keep it there.
right.
yeah, but it's, when you deal with reviewer, you are,
We want to handle this today because actually, Adam, is it okay if you can connect and then make sure, or somehow start a session and then use that as a QC grid there? Even if Ted, you do that, we just want to make sure that we are able to use the QC grid. That's
Yeah.
all. Okay. It doesn't matter where it is located as of now. If things change, like you move it to a different location and so on, then that's fine.
so when I go into data table properties and I go to grid,
Mm-hmm.
I have it defined there.
Okay. So you already have defined it to that. So
Yeah, I don't
Adam,
need, I shouldn't have to load the QC grid into the data reviewer database, because as long as the people have read access to that database, they can come into the grid tab, browse, go find the grid feature data set they want to use, add it, it's going to register it right there.
okay. Does this also mean, and just want to clarify, is that water, for example, right? When we do the QC on water and we recommend them, they are on the other database, which is utility dev. They will also be able to access this edit dev and this QC
Yeah,
grid.
yeah, well, I mean, that's where all the city data is at. So they're going to be connecting to all the data on GIS edit already.
Okay.
So QC is just another feature data set that lives there.
Okay.
So they would
So
have full access.
right. So as long as we're able to get to this data set, then I think we're fine. Okay. Adam, let's do that in our test right now. After this, maybe we
Okay.
can do it on, you connect to that specific layer, the
Mm-hmm.
QC grid.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I don't really know what this is for. It's
It was a word stamp layer that you gave us in order to be able to create
oh, so I can kill
for
it
for
because
the
we don't have
SPL ID.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now it's in the different one, right? So
now it's up here.
Right.
Okay. I'm looking at this going, when did I load that?
It was a temporary layer. You said you'll finish the quality control and then put it in a permanent position. So
Yeah. So you guys aren't referencing this anymore then, right?
we shouldn't be. And if
we
Yeah.
we
need to
do, when you
change.
delete it, we'll know. So that's fine if you have to
I'm
delete it, I guess.
I'm not refer.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I'm not using that one.
On the editors MXD that we copied last time, there we need to go change it.
Well,
When
the
it
editors
goes,
will
Yeah,
figure
they
it
should
out.
just.
yeah,
Yeah.
when it goes red mark.
It's sort
Yeah.
of like, putting our training to test there. So, okay.
Okay, so we're done.
I think
You
we're
guys are
done
gonna,
for the day. Thank you.
oh, it's still locking it. I'll delete that, but I'll have to figure something out.
Sure.
Okay, so we got the sequences done. Can I run that sequences on production then?
Yes.
Or are we going to make any changes?
No.
No, you're going to test it on your end. You're going to
This
come
is the
back to me.
connection. Yeah, I need to test the connection to see.
We
Then come
haven't.
back, and
Yeah,
then I'll wait till you come back to me to say, okay, I can do everything I need to do, and then I'll
Okay.
add it to production.
Sure.
Okay.
That should be okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
editors can do, right? It has the permission to update. Update permission is
Yeah,
there.
you have select rights on that, and we can go look at it again. So this is the user. It has, let me, I guess edit.
GIS edit sequence.
I see that. No, it's not there. It's. Oh, so it's not.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Grand.
Right? Let's see if I can do this. So I don't know what permissions I have with our DBA.
Mm-hmm.
So the role has update and select. The user has connect
Connect.
and update. Do I need to give it to the user, right, or just to the role?
User. Yeah.
Because at that point, I
Let's
should
give
give
it
it
to the
select.
user. Yeah.
So select, and because he likes to do everything through roles, so let me check that out.
You can give it to the role and then assign that role to the user.
Yeah, that's how it's set up right now. But I'm actually hard coding it down to
User. Yeah.
um,
Update. Missing it. Oh.
obvious. So I got it down to the update and the select and connect, and then at the at the role level, then I have it as update and select as well.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do. Yeah. I'll test it and let you know.
Okay. Sounds good. And then I need to give you guys maybe a new updated copy of the files. You guys want a file database, or is the STE fine? I mean, you guys could literally just copy the files. You could just copy this right into a file database.
Right.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
So right now, the planning domains I've been tweaking, just to give you a heads up. Planning is going to be for city edit. Essentially, you're for the city editor. Essentially, it's going to be planning. It's not going to be any other department, just planning. So, but most of those edits right now are being done in ArcMap anyway, so it should be pretty straightforward. We still haven't done any topology rules on it, but right now it's probably just going to be gaps and overlap for zoning and for general plan. If you guys have any experience setting up topologies for planning, hopefully you guys can provide that. I kind of started to delve into the relationships between the different data sets, like zoning and general plan should generally follow the boundaries, except for along, obviously there's zoning a little more detailed than general plan, but that's not something we need to worry about yet. As you guys are going to get over that in like a month. I don't even know your schedule, so.
Yeah, we'll
Okay, so we got
keep you
that.
posted on the schedule.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it. I just, that's kind of in CJ's wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's going to change. It's going to move according to like when we got the final data from SA, and based on that, things are going to be like projected forward. So yeah.
Okay, alrighty.
Mhm.
So I'll be looking for your email, Latha.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Talk to you later.
Okay, thank you
Bye.
everyone. Thank you, Ted.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you,
Um,
everybody. Bye-bye.
Haritha,
Yes.
do you want to test the grid real quick?
You changed yourself as the presenter there. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So it was in edit.
It had something called QC in the beginning, so keep going to the right. There.
This one.
Hmm.
Okay. Here it is. So you select which grid you want to QC in. I think.
Yeah. The visual QC,
Or you-
right?
Yeah. Or any QC if I wanted to run the QC checks in just this grid, right?
Hmm.
Or no, it's just showing me QC checks in that grid now.
Yeah.
By
It's
grid.
like you
Okay.
run your checks, but this is the visual QC part that kicks in here.
Okay. So
Okay.
you can't actually run the batch job by QC or
Batch
grid.
job can be by current. Yeah, it would have been nice that they did that, but I don't think that functionality.
Okay.
I don't
Let me
see that.
see one thing.
Mhm.
Actually, this would be interesting to see if maybe when I select a grid, it
Mhm.
automatically can go to that grid.
Yeah, let's try.
Um,
That zooms in on this map, I believe. Right click there. Is there an option there?
no right click options.
Okay, just say okay then.
No, it doesn't seem to move.
But that's interesting. Why would that happen?
Why would what happen?
Oh, I was just trying to think. You don't see anything right now over there because you don't have any results from running the batch review, right?
Not in this grid,
Okay.
at least. Not in the grid that I selected here. But
Mhm.
there are, some errors somewhere. Yeah, if I undo that, maybe if I
I mean, as it is, I see that the table is empty.
hmm
So does it's not loaded in any results from any batch review.
there was some results in here. Hold on, let me.
You may have to pick a version.
Pick a version. No, I don't think I ever had to. Let's see. I don't think I'm in a version right now. No, I'm
No,
not.
you're in the default version.
hmm Let's see. Yeah, see, there are checks in here.
Okay, good.
All right.
Can
So
you
this is the
zoom to
one
one
we
of
ran.
those?
Sure. Let's do a duplicate manhole.
Does it show the ID there on the right side for the map, the QC grid at all?
In these fields.
Yeah, keep going to the right all the way. And I mean, because you have just set it, I don't know if it knows that yet or not. Oh, there it is, but it's null. And
Yeah.
it's null because, okay, if you run the checks now after setting the QC grid, just run in
Mhm.
this area maybe, and then maybe it will remember where those happened. And that
Okay.
way you will get results for that. I mean, run the batch reviewer. So as far as the reviewer workspace is concerned, you're not using any versioning on the reviewer workspace.
No,
Okay.
and I don't think we're supposed to. Right.
I mean, you could because it's available, but I think
Hmm.
that may be a question for Ted.
Hmm.
It's going to cause a little bit of confusion. I mean, do they want to record? Well, that's a different database, so you'll have to create a new version if you'd want to. Just run a few checks.
Mhm.
I'm going to stop the recording. I don't think we need
Okay.
to record